It's broken news.
The Rams brought Jalen Ramsey into Atlanta, and guess what? They waxed the Falcons that you have been talking about for quite some time. Let's listen to Falcons head coach Dan Quinn react to another disappointing loss.
You think you've lost the team?
I understand why the question is. It's a fair question, quite honestly, because you spend most of your time trying to, connect and get the team to play like we're capable of. And so the answer I would say is no. But why am I, the disbelief at times of not playing like we're capable of? That can be very frustrating.
Jalen, the Falcons play the Seahawks next week. Some tells me next Monday we will not be celebrating an Atlanta victory. What do you see happening with Dan Quinn?
They've been probably the most disappointing team in the NFL for me based on their level of talent. You got a quarterback in Matt Ryan that proven to be franchise level. You have all-world receiver in Julio Jones. Ridley has shown promise. Sanu has shown promise. Freeman fumbled yesterday in the game. Great hit by Ramsey. They're talking about trading Vic Beasley. This has become a team that I've been scratching my head watching every week. You know how this works. We spend 10 hours of our lives watching these games on Sunday. And every time I flip to watch the Falcons, they just look uninspired. They can't stop anybody. Only scored 10 points in the game. I hate to say it, but when Dan Quinn was at the press conference, usually when somebody asks you, did you lose the team, you don't ramble for 60 seconds and then say no. You say no, and then you ramble. And so I can tell that he senses it, and at some point, unfortunately, it's going to cost him his job, in my opinion.
It is going to cost him his job. And I did like the fact that he acknowledged why he was being asked the question in the first place. I feel like that self-awareness is important, especially when you're dealing with the media and a disappointed fan base. But I do feel like it will cost him his job, and I do not think that they will be beating the Seahawks come next week. Jalen, remember we were talking about the Bears and how great their defense was, and maybe without a great offense, this defense could carry them, deep into the playoffs? Well, things have changed since then. They played the Saints this weekend, and Teddy Bridgewater tore up that Bears defense and brought the Saints the victory. You see Bridgewater here doing his thing. Jalen, is this bad Bears or good Saints?
This is terrific Saints, and that's without Alvin Kamara. You turn around and hand it to Latavius Murray, gets you over 100 yards. Your Swiss Army knife Hill scores a TD. But here's the thing people sleep on about Teddy Bridgewater.
What's that?
He has self-awareness. He's 26 years old, and he had offers this offseason to go play elsewhere, and he decided to stay as Drew Brees' backup, somebody that's normally in the lineup that just so happened to get hurt. And so many people felt like when Drew Brees went down that the Saints would not be able to hold it down. They've been undefeated during this period of time.
5-0, and they played good competition during that 5-0 run too. This isn't the bottom of the league they're facing.
No doubt about it. It says so much about Sean Payton. Now, Alvin Kamara, again, who missed yesterday's game, hasn't been putting up his normal fantasy numbers. Michael Thomas went over 100 yards receiving still. It was great to watch Teddy continue to emerge as somebody that they seem to take the training wheels off of him each week to now put him in position to be successful.
Let's say you were running the Saints, right? And Brees is coming back, okay? So you're going to put Brees in the game. But do you keep Bridgewater next season as a backup when you've seen how effective he can be, or do you let him walk and start for another team?
No, you keep him as a backup because people have to pay attention to something. Nick Foles just won Super Bowl MVP as a backup quarterback.
Yep.
Carson Wentz got a big deal, and then Nick Foles ultimately got a big deal. That's an important position on your roster that you have to find a way to keep somebody that's going to be there in case something happens to your starting quarterback. You don't put the other 52 guys in jeopardy, the opportunity to still be successful.
Jalen, I cannot agree more. I think the backup quarterback position is more important than most positions in the NFL. And there was a man who was once a backup quarterback to a gentleman named Tom Brady, and he has now come into his own. And this man's name is Jacoby Brissett. Why did it take us this long to get to Jacoby Brissett? Why did our producers bury Jacoby Brissett so deep into this show? He should be the first thing we talk about and the only thing we talk about. This entire hour should be dedicated to the greatness that is Jacoby Brissett. I said it first. Jacoby Brissett is the face of the league. He's going to be MVP this year. When is it going to take people? When is everyone else going to catch up to the greatness that is Jacoby Brissett? Because he had 4 touchdowns yesterday, 326 yards. And that was against Deshaun Watson, who we were just last week asking him, would you rather have Mahomes or Watson? We talk about Lamar Jackson. We talk about Aaron Rodgers. Yet no one will discuss the greatness that is Jacoby Brissett. Is he the most underappreciated quarterback in the NFL?
Right now, he has to be, because anytime you lose Andrew Luck, who had terrific talent and potential, and people thought if they were going to win the Super Bowl, it was going to be because he was under center. But not the people in their building, not management, not their coaching staff, not the rest of the team. You didn't see them panic and go out and do some sort of signing or trade.
Nope.
They gave him a bigger deal. As a matter of fact, they believed in Jacoby so very much. But I got to make sure I stress this. This is a salary cap driven sport. There will be people that say, Jimmy Garoppolo's undefeated. Jacoby Brissett is playing well. It's a loss for the Patriots. Y'all do realize who won a Super Bowl last year, right?
Yeah. How many losses do the Patriots have?
Correct.
How many losses do they have?
Correct. And you have to dedicate your resources somewhere. So you couldn't invest in Garoppolo. You couldn't necessarily invest in Brissett. But guess what they did? They invested in that defense. They invested in that run game. So now Tom Brady doesn't have to drop back at 42 years old and throw the football 40 times a game.
The Patriots have 0 losses. They face the Jets tonight, and they feel like a true undefeated team, the best team in the AFC. But there's a team in the NFC that is also undefeated, and that is the 49ers. They played the Washington team yesterday. They won 9-0 in an ugly, sort of wet game. But Jalen, why don't I respect the 49ers as an undefeated team? Why do I look at the 49ers and still not feel like they're the class of the NFC? Explain to me why I am disrespecting the 49ers.
Because they're not dropping back, throwing the football all over the lot, and their quarterback isn't having 4 and 5 touchdown pass games. Or you're not seeing their running back having 200-yard rushing games, being a dual threat, catching for another 75. They're doing it with their defense. They're doing it with their front 4. They're doing it with their linebackers. They're doing it because their cornerbacks and their safeties can actually cover, and they don't allow many yards after the catch. And that was a muddy game yesterday. And as I was watching Washington play, looking for a new head coach, it made me think of something. So they fired Jay Gruden, right? In their building, in the last 9 or 10 years, let me tell you who was in their building. Okay.
Who?
Mike Shanahan, 2-time Super Bowl winning coach in Denver, was in their building.
Yep.
He hired his son, Kyle Shanahan, to be a head coach. You know where he's coaching right now?
Wait, he's now coaching, the team that just beat them.
Correct.
Right.
And they're undefeated, right?
That's right.
Okay,
That's
let me tell you somebody else that was in their building. You ever heard of Aaron Rodgers when he had 6 touchdowns yesterday? Matt LaFleur was in there.
Oh, and he was also, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Huh.
And how about the guy, if you know his name, you get a coaching interview? Sean McVay.
Oh, yeah. You say, if he's in your phone, you get hired. They don't even care. They're like, do you have Sean McVay's number? You say, yes, you get hired.
So when you talk about an organization that's dysfunctional, you have all of these potential people in your building that are great at what they do, and they seem to flourish when they leave. Ask Kirk Cousins. What did he do yesterday?
Oh, wait, that's right. He beat the Lions. Oh, that's right. It just seems like once you leave the Washington football team, success is waiting for you. And that is not good for the football fans in the DMV. Jalen Rose, there's more than just football going on. We have a World Series matchup locked in, and we'll break it down right after this. Sean Payton is motivating his players. He brought the Lombardi Trophy into the locker room and $225,000. He said, if you guys want this, win 3 football games. Would this work? Would this motivate millionaires to win football games?
Absolutely. When you bring some cash and you put it on the table and it's a whole lot of Benjamins, I'm telling you, it just does something to you, soothing. It's like eucalyptus. It's like vaporizer to the body. It's just like halls.
Here's the thing about me. I love cash. I kind of miss the days when we got physical checks and take it to the check cashing place and they would just count out the money in front of me. Everyone does direct deposit now. 1 week a year, I want Disney just to hand me duffel bags of ones. So I can just come home and be like, here you go, family, look what I did. However, I probably would spend half of it before I made it home, let's be honest.
Yeah, you got a lot of ones for some reason.
Let's move on, please.